With wedges and dashes, there's more than one way to draw a molecule. When we factor in R and S stereocenters, the question is, how many different possible stereoisomers can we draw from the same molecular structure? Let me show you the pattern, the mathematical rule that may surprise you, and the one exception to the rule you always have to watch out for. Hey there, ninjas. Before we start talking about enantiomers or diastereomers or mesomolecules, there's a simpler question that we must answer first. How many stereoisomers are even possible for this molecule? In this video, I'm going to give you a systematic, exam-safe way to count possible stereoisomers, show you the mathematical rule, and show you when that rule breaks. Step 1 is not about drawing wedge or dash. It's not about assigning R and S correctly. The first step is much more basic. We need to count the number of stereocenters correctly for this molecule. Recall that for this part of the course, a stereocenter is any sp3 hybridized carbons with 4 different groups attached. 3 hydrogens attached to a carbon, not a stereocenter. 2 identical methyl groups, not a stereocenter. If you miscount here in step 1, everything else downstream breaks. Let's start then with this molecule. How many stereocenters are there in this molecule? Carbon number 1 has a bond to carbon number 2 and 3 identical hydrogens attached, so carbon number 1 is not a stereocenter. The same is true for carbon 3 with its 3 identical hydrogens attached. But what about carbon 2? Carbon 2 has a bond to chlorine, an implied bond to the implied hydrogen, and 2 bonds to 2 identical methyl groups. Carbon number 2 is also not a stereocenter. This molecule has no stereocenters. Even if we thought carbon number 2 was a stereocenter and we drew one version with the chlorine on the wedge and one version with the chlorine on the dash, we would find out that these are identical molecules. If I take the chlorine on the dash and I flip it like a pancake, the chlorine moves to being on a wedge and it becomes identical to the first molecule I drew. No matter how many different wedge and dash combinations I draw, I'm always drawing the same molecule from a different perspective. Let's start making a table then. For a molecule with 0 stereocenters, there's only one way to draw the molecule. There's only one stereoisomer. Let's change things up a little bit and continue building this table. If we swap out one of those methyl groups for a carbon-bromine bond, what changes and what stays the same? Let's first look for how many stereocenters there are. Carbon number 1 is still not a stereocenter. It still has 3 identical hydrogens attached. But carbon number 2 is now a stereocenter. It has a bond to carbon, bromine, chlorine, and the implied hydrogen. That's 4 unique groups. This carbon is a stereocenter. Let's see how many different ways there are to draw a molecule with one stereocenter. If we keep the carbon and the bromine in the plane, we can draw one version with the chlorine on the wedge and the hydrogen on the dash, and the other version with the chlorine on the dash and the hydrogen on the wedge. These are 2 unique molecules. There's no way to interconvert these through bond rotations. If I were to flip this molecule horizontally like a pancake, that would bring the chlorine to the wedge and the hydrogen to the dash, but it would move the bromine to the left side and the methyl group to the right side. These are still not the same molecule. That means for a molecule with one stereocenter, there are 2 possible stereoisomers that we can draw. We're not going to assign any R or S labels or determine the relationship between any molecules right now. We're just counting stereoisomers for this video. You may be able to see where we're going with this table, but let's start over with this molecule all the same. First step, how many stereocenters? Pause the video, see if you can work out how many stereocenters there are, and take a guess at how many stereoisomers we'll be able to draw. What number do you think comes next in our table? For this molecule, the CH3 group is still not a stereocenter. Carbon number 2 is a stereocenter. It's got the methyl group, the chlorine, the carbon chain with the bromine, and the implied hydrogen. And carbon number 3 is also a stereocenter. It's got a methyl group, the bromine, the carbon chain with the chlorine, and an implied hydrogen. There are 2 stereocenters in this molecule. The big question, of course, how many stereoisomers? With more than one stereocenter and without a clear pattern, students just sometimes guess what the next number is supposed to be. But as an OChemNinja, we're not going to guess, we're going to systematize. We're going to work our way logically through all of the wedge and dash possible combinations. We'll start with one version of the molecule with both groups on wedges. We could call this the wedge-wedge version of the molecule. Then we're going to systematically go down the line and change one and then both of these wedges to dashes. We can draw the wedge-dash version. We can draw the dash-wedge version. And we can end with the dash-dash version. If we always start with the all-wedge version and systematically change one and then multiple stereocenters to dashes, we can find all possible combinations of wedges and dashes. So how many stereoisomers did we draw? With 2 stereocenters, we get a maximum of 4 possible stereoisomers. At this point, a pattern appears. In fact, there's 2 different patterns you might ascribe to the data we have so far. The mathematical pattern that we're uncovering is that for n number of stereocenters, 2 to the n is the maximum possible number of stereoisomers we could draw for that molecule. Let me be clear, it's not n number of stereoisomers squared. It's not 2 times the number of stereoisomers. It's 2 raised to the n power number of possible stereoisomers given a certain number of stereocenters. This 2 to the n rule is incredibly powerful and very useful. You might even be able to predict the next row of our table. But the rule is only useful if you understand what the word maximum means and factor in the limitations of chemical structures. This molecule does not follow our pattern. Let's see if we can figure out why and what it is about this structure that we could see right from the beginning that would tell us to watch out. This molecule, again, has 2 stereocenters. The CH3 group is not a stereocenter, but this carbon number 2 is. It has a methyl group, a chlorine, a carbon with a chlorine, and an implied hydrogen. So does carbon 3, and carbon number 4 is not a stereocenter. So it looks like a regular molecule with 2 stereocenters, and we should be able to draw 4 stereoisomers. We could even think about it systematically. We could start with the both wedge version. We could systematically change one of them to a dash, and end with both of them on dashes. That looks like 4 different molecules. So let's figure out what's going on here. Let's draw them all out. We'll start with the both wedge version, the wedge dash version, the dash wedge version, and the both dash version. Again, looking at this, it still kind of looks like these are 4 different molecules. But be very careful. Let me show you something. Let's take a look at this dash wedge version that we drew as our third structure, and I want you to follow this chlorine on carbon number 2. If I give this molecule a numbering system, 1 through 4, and I watch carbon number 2, I could take this molecule and rotate it like a steering wheel, and all of a sudden it becomes the same as the wedge dash version we drew as structure number 2. If I number this molecule from the right, as I rotate this molecule, carbon number 2 rotates into this right side of the molecule, and these are really identical molecules. They are steering wheel rotations of each other. So even though we were very systematic in our approach, even though we drew the 4 molecules correctly, what happened was we inadvertently drew the same molecule twice. And since these are identical through a steering wheel rotation, they are not different molecules, they're the same molecule, and so we only get 3 unique stereoisomers for this molecule. When some of the combinations are identical, we end up with only 3 stereoisomers, a number fewer than what the theory would predict. This is the big exception. This is the big warning. This is where students accidentally count the wrong number of stereoisomers. The 2 to the n rule, friends, is not a promise. It's an upper limit. We can have no more than 4 possible stereoisomers given 2 stereocenters. It's the maximum possible number of stereoisomers. So you might be thinking to yourself, well, that's kind of arbitrary. How am I supposed to know that in the future? Let me show you one property of this molecule we could have seen right from the beginning that would have told us to watch out. What I notice about this molecule is it is structurally symmetric. If I were to write out the condensed formula of this molecule, I would start with the methyl group CH3, then CHCl, then another CHCl, and the final CH3. And what I want you to notice is that this molecule is symmetric. It reads the same both left and right. From both the left and the right, we have a methyl group, a carbon with a chlorine, a carbon with a chlorine, and a methyl group, no matter which way we address the molecule. When a molecule has symmetry like this, I like to call it a palindromic molecule. A palindrome is a word that reads the same forwards and backwards, like mom or noon, N-O-O-N, N-O-O-N. Or the phrase, Madam, I'm Adam, which is true because my name really is Adam. And when a molecule is palindromic, that's the time that at least one of the drawings will be identical and will have fewer than the maximum possible number of stereoisomers. We'll talk about meso later, but for now, just remember that symmetry collapses the number of stereoisomers. This rule gives you a huge advantage on exams. Before labeling anything, you can count the number of stereocenters in a molecule. This molecule has 3 stereocenters. Given the number of stereocenters, you can calculate the maximum possible number of stereoisomers immediately. And you can check to see if the molecule is palindromic and if that symmetry is going to reduce the maximum possible number of stereoisomers. This molecule is not palindromic, so I really would expect 8 stereoisomers. You are no longer guessing, you're controlling the situation. I'm not going to draw all 8 possible stereoisomers here, but we could go through it systematically. We could start with all 3 stereocenters on wedges. And since stereocenters are binary, we could move to 1 of them being on a dash, and then move to 2 of them being on a dash, and end with all 3 of them on dashes. If we drew all these out, these would be the 8 possible combinations of stereocenters for this molecule. These are the 8 stereoisomers for 3 stereocenters. As a quick side note, keep this kind of binary systematic walk through all possible combinations in the back of your mind. Notice there's 1 possibility in this column, 3 in the middle 2 columns, and 1 in the final column. That will be a really important ratio when we get to NMR spectroscopy. Using this rule then, if we had a molecule with 4 stereocenters, can you tell me the maximum possible number of stereoisomers? Remember, it's not 4 times 2, it's not 4 squared, it's 2 to the 4th power, which would be 16 maximum possible number of stereoisomers. And a quick check to see if the molecule is a palindrome will tell you if any symmetry will make that number smaller. If this already feels cleaner and less daunting, good, that's the point. In the next video, we'll stop counting single molecules and start labeling them chiral, achiral, or meso. And we'll talk about why describing a single molecule matters before you ever look at the relationship between them. I'm proud of you, ninjas. Stereochemistry is hard work, and you're working really hard at this. This part of stereochemistry is very learnable when you have a good organization system. I'll see you in the next video, ninjas.
Thanks for watching. If you like what you saw today, maybe let your instructor know about these videos, or your friends at other schools. Check out some of these other videos and playlists, see what you like. As always, don't forget to like and subscribe.